Hello, and welcome to our Bible study on the Ten Commandments, where in each lesson we're going to look at a different commandment, a word that's going to help guide our discussion and give better clarity into that commandment, and also some points to think about and consider as we live our lives. The commandment we're going to look at today is the seventh commandment, you shall not steal. And at the heart of this commandment, we all understand the concept of theft. We understand the concept of we should not be taking something that belongs to somebody else. The ultimate spirit of this commandment, or the underlying idea behind this commandment, is the concept of respect. When we take something from somebody else, ultimately we disrespect that person and we disrespect the things that belong to that person. And so we have intentionally then gone out and taken something that belongs to somebody else. And there are a lot of ways or a lot of ideas or a lot of reasons that lead up to us actually going and physically taking something from somebody else. But ultimately, when we do not respect other people and the things that they own, we are violating this commandment. And so a few points to consider as we think about the commandment, you shall not steal. Number one, respect possessions. We all have different possessions. And a lot of times in our lives it becomes a comparison game or a comparison trap. That person has something, I wish I had it. That person has something, I wish I had it. Boy, I wish I had that person's car. And then ultimately we go and we decide that it is better for me to have it than it is for that person. And so we go and we plot and we intentionally take what does not belong to us. But we need to understand that God gives differently to different people. It does not mean that God loves that person more than He loves you because that other person has more possessions. It just means that there is something different for us in this world. And so we need to respect the possessions of other people. Number two, we need to respect space and time. Sometimes theft is not simply about a physical possession of something. Perhaps we just feel that we need to interject ourselves into somebody else's world and we need to dominate the time and the space of that person. Might not theft also be something that deals with time? Could you not be stealing time from somebody else by disrespecting who they are? Oftentimes students, when they act out in class, will consume the time of the teacher or other people in that class. Is that maybe not in the spirit of stealing something? You're stealing time from not just your teacher, but also you're stealing time from the students around you who would like to learn something? We need to respect other people's space and we need to respect other people's time as well as their possessions. And number three, when your neighbor prospers, you prosper. Now, you may not physically prosper if your neighbor physically prospers, but if you're there to support your neighbor and you're there to support your neighbor doing what your neighbor is good at doing, and you're there to support and respect what your neighbor has, ultimately you are going to prosper spiritually, and you're going to prosper because you understand spiritually what it means to respect other people and other people's property. It means you're going to understand what it means to respect their space and time and all things that your neighbor or the people around you might have. And it gives you a proper perspective in what God has done for you and what God has given to you as well. You are more thankful for the things that you have and not angry or upset at the things that you don't have. I hope this has helped guide your discussion and given you some points to think about when it comes to the commandment, you shall not steal.